am Parker Besler, Sporting KC's junior reporter. Today I'm here with someone very special, my dad and sporting legend, Matt Besler. When did you start playing soccer?
I first started playing soccer when I was in kindergarten. I started playing with Blue Valley Rec, and then I started playing club soccer when I was in 3rd grade.
How did you end up at Sporting?
I got drafted to Sporting in 2009 by the Kansas City Wizards. I was part of the 2009 MLS Super Draft class, and then we rebranded to Sporting in 2011.
How did you pick your number?
They gave me a couple different options, and I like number 5 the best. And there was also a lot of good history in Kansas City sports with people that wore number 5. Kerry Zavagnin wore number 5 before me, who's also a Sporting KC legend, and also George Brett wore number 5 for the Kansas City Royals. Do you know who George Brett is?
No. What was your favorite Sporting KC jersey that you ever played in?
The light blue jerseys with the white collars. I believe that was in 2017, and it's an iconic jersey because we won an Open Cup in those jerseys. What's your favorite jersey?
I don't have one. They're all my favorite.
They're all your favorite?
Yeah.
How many Sporting jerseys do you have?
A lot.
Like 3 or 4?
5.
You have 5?
Yeah.
Wow. Do they all say Parker on the back?
No.
What do they say?
One says, Daddy. How did you feel during your first Sporting KC game ever?
My first Sporting KC game ever was on the road against Colorado. I played outside midfield. Preseason, I mostly practiced defender, but my first ever game was as a wide midfielder. That's probably my first and only game, actually, as a wide midfielder, so that could be some good trivia for you Sporting KC fans out there.
How did you become captain?
We won the MLS Cup in 2013. Jimmy Nielsen famously retired after that game with a broken rib. And so we went into that year, into the preseason. There was a couple people that really stepped up with their leadership roles, but I remember myself and Paulo Nagamura specifically of kind of taking the lead in those captain roles. And right before the first game of the season, Peter Vermes and his coaching staff sat me down and told me that he was going to name me captain, and I guess the rest is history.
What was the best goal you ever scored?
I scored a lot of goals when I was a kid, but as a professional, I didn't score a lot of goals. Why do you think that was?
Because you're a defender.
Yeah, that's right. I actually don't even know how many goals I have in my career, but it's single digits for sure. We were on the road. It was the last game of our regular season, and we were fighting for playoff seeding. And there was a ball that popped out to me on the top of the box, and I kind of turned and curled one into the upper corner of the goal. So it was a pretty goal.
What was your favorite memory on the field?
We had a lot of great memories on the field. Very difficult to pick just one. If I had to pick, would be the 2012 U.S. Open Cup final. There's a lot of reasons why that one sticks out, but the Seattle Sounders were the 3-time defending champs of the U.S. Open Cup, and it felt really good to knock them off that perch. And for us too, it was our first taste of winning something. We had been working really hard for a couple years, but falling just a little bit short. But that was our first taste of what it meant and what it felt like to win a championship, and it really helped propel us to win a bunch more after that.
Do you remember who scored the PK?
That went into a penalty kick shootout, yes. You're putting me on the spot. I don't remember everyone who scored.
Who scored the winning one?
That's a good question. I don't know who scored the last goal for us, but I do remember the last play. They actually missed. So somebody from their team, his name was Eddie Johnson, he had to make it to tie to keep the shootout going, and he hit it way over the crossbar.
Do you remember who saved it?
Jimmy Nielsen was the goalie. I'll have to show you a video. He kicked it really high. The ball's still in the air, I think.
What was the hardest game you ever played in your career?
I could probably pick a game that we lost by a lot. I'm going to pick a game that we won, because sometimes even games that you win can be hard. So the hardest game that we played that we won was the 2015 U.S. Open Cup final against Philadelphia. The reason why it was so hard is because we had to go on the road. So we had to play in their stadium in front of their fans. They were very, very motivated to win that game. They had just lost the Open Cup final the year previous at home, so they didn't want to do that again. They came out and put us under a ton of pressure, and we were hanging on for dear life for about the first 30 minutes. But again, it was a really, really strong group of players, competitive, winning mentality, and we settled into the game and we just found a way to win. It was different winning on the road, but it was just as sweet.
Do you have any favorite moments with the fans?
The infamous Snowball fight. One of my first years, Kai Kamara organized a snowball fight with the fans. So there was a couple players. We met just off the plaza by UMKC, and we had a big snowball fight with the fans. It was a lot of fun. Does that sound fun?
Yeah.
Yeah? Would you want to do that?
No. Which teammate had the messiest locker?
Gonna have to say Graham Zusi.
That's what I thought.
You thought that?
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah? Yeah. Uncle Graham?
Yeah.
Because Graham used to get a lot of fan mail. You know what that is?
Yeah.
He probably was one of the most popular players, so he got the most fan mail. There's so many envelopes and autographs that he had to sign.
What does it feel like to be a sporting legend?
It feels awesome. Yeah. It's a very big honor, and yeah, I just feel lucky that, you know, I'm in this position. There's a lot of great teammates that I had. I was fortunate to be on some very good and successful teams, and I feel like I'm just a byproduct of those teams. I feel honored to kind of be one of the guys that get to represent that era and be one of the guys that get to represent those teams, and very grateful for those opportunities.
This has been Junior Reporter, presented by Central Bank, and I am Parker Besler, and this is my dad, Matt Besler. Thank you for joining us.